All right, welcome back to the deep dive. So today we are opening up this stack of documents that I have to admit, at first glance, I thought this was going to be the driest thing we have ever covered.
I mean, I can see why.
We're talking about the contract furniture industry.
Yeah.
Office chairs,
Mm.
desks, cubicles.
It sounds incredibly niche. I can just hear people reaching for the skip button right now.
Don't do it. Because what we found in here, and this is why I love doing this, is that this isn't actually a story about furniture. It's a story about a hidden economy.
Mhm.
It's about something the sources call a complexity tax that is silently draining millions of dollars from companies every single day.
Exactly. When you peel back the layers, you realize this is a case study in systems theory.
Hmm.
It's about how massive industries get addicted to complexity and how painful it is to untangle that knot.
So let's start with that term, complexity tax,
Yeah.
because it's not, a line item on an invoice. You don't get a bill from the government for it.
No, you pay it in friction. You pay it in delays. You pay it when a project that was supposed to take 3 months takes 6. You pay it in burnout for your design teams.
Wow.
The premise of the research we're looking at today is that the contract furniture industry is currently operating in what they call a pre-clock era.
I love that phrase, pre-clock.
Right.
It sounds like we're talking about the Stone Age.
It's a really powerful analogy. I mean, think about the world before the mechanical clock was standardized. Time was local. It was fuzzy.
Right.
If I said, let's meet around noon, my noon was based on where the sun was for me, and yours was slightly different.
There was no Greenwich Mean Time, no synchronization.
Exactly. And because there was no standard, coordination was incredibly expensive. You couldn't run a railroad. You couldn't run a factory shift. You had to constantly negotiate, well, what time is it for you?
And the argument here is that buying furniture for a corporate headquarters today is exactly like that.
It is. It's a mess of
Yeah.
PDFs, individual emails, tribal knowledge, and just manual phone calls.
It's chaotic.
It is. There is no single source of truth. The whole system relies on individual heroics, people staying up until midnight checking spreadsheets just to get a simple order correct. That's the complexity tax.
And the solution proposed in these white papers isn't just buy better software. They aren't just saying, hey, use this new app.
No, not at all.
They are proposing a total rewrite of the business model. They call it the AI native contract furniture platform.
And I know AI native is the buzzword of the century.
It usually makes me roll my eyes. I see AI native and I just think, okay, great, a chatbot.
Right. But in this specific context, AI native means something very, very specific. It means moving from a service model, where armies of people run around fixing mistakes, to a utility model.
Like electricity.
Exactly like electricity. When you flip a light switch, you don't need to know about the power plant, the transmission lines, or the voltage transformers. You just get light. It's a utility.
And this platform aims to turn the chaotic mess of office furniture into a utility.
Yeah.
You flip the switch and the office appears.
That's the goal.
Okay, so to understand how they do that, we have to look at the root cause of the chaos. And there is a statistic in these documents that absolutely floored me. They call it the 5% power law.
This is the reality check that hurts. The data analysis shows that in the contract furniture world, this massive multi-billion-dollar industry, roughly 5% of the SKUs.
Just 5%.
Just 5% of the SKUs represent 80 to 90% of real-world outcomes.
Okay, just pause on that. 5%. That means 95% of the stuff in those giant catalogs, the thousands of pages of options, the endless fabric swatches, it's basically just taking up space.
The sources call it differentiation theater.
Differentiation theater.
Yeah.
Wow, that is scathing.
It's noise. Manufacturers create this long tail of products primarily for marketing. They want to claim they have infinite choice. They want a showroom to look cutting edge with, a velvet chair that has gold legs, even if nobody ever actually buys it for a working office.
So we have this illusion of choice. We think we want the infinite menu like at the Cheesecake Factory.
But functionally, that 95% long tail is toxic. That is where the delays live. That is where the supply chain breaks down.
Wow.
If you order from the 5%, you're pretty much safe. If you order from the 95%, you are rolling the dice on whether that fabric will actually show up in 6 months.
So we're drowning in options we don't actually use, but we're paying the price for navigating them.
Precisely. Currently, the industry treats all options as equal. A standard mass-produced task chair is treated with the same weight in the system as a bespoke imported lounge chair that takes 12 weeks to weave. That creates massive data clutter.
So enter the AI platform. How does it fix this?
Well, it starts by acknowledging reality. It takes that proven 5%, the stuff that fits, ships, and works, and it fences it off. They call this the approved universe.
The approved universe, it sounds very sci-fi, like a gated community for furniture.
In a way, it is. It's a governed library of products and configurations that are guaranteed to work. The platform has verified the data. We know the dimensions are right. We know it meets fire codes. We know the pricing is locked.
And if you stay inside that universe,
Everything is automated. Layouts generate instantly. Procurement happens in a click. It's frictionless.
okay, but I could hear the designers listening to this screaming at their radios right now.
You're killing my creativity. I don't want to just pick from the approved universe. I want to make art.
And it's a valid fear. But the sources argue that this actually protects creativity.
How? By limiting choices.
Think about what a designer actually does all day right now. They spend a huge amount of time acting as a SKU librarian. They are cross-referencing codes, calling reps to check stock, fighting with Excel to get the budget to balance.
The documents call that mechanized cognitive labor.
Exactly. It's drudgery.
Yeah.
So if the system automates the boring stuff, if the approved universe handles the logistics, the designer can focus on the vibe, the narrative, the spatial experience.
They become less of a procurement clerk and more of an architect of culture.
That's the idea. Okay, that makes sense. But what if I really need something outside the gate? What if the CEO demands a specific, hand-carved mahogany desk that definitely isn't in the approved universe? Does the computer just say no?
No. And this is where the governance model gets really interesting. It uses a logic called default allow versus exception proof.
Exception proof, that sounds like a legal term.
It's designed to add friction where it belongs. If you stay in the approved universe, it's default allow. You don't need permission. Speed is the priority.
Okay.
But if you want to go outside, you trigger the exception-proof workflow. You literally have to provide a reason code.
You have to explain yourself to the machine.
You have to categorize the deviation.
Mhm.
The system asks, why are we doing this? Is this an EPACC exception, meaning it's for accessibility? Maybe you need a specific height desk for a wheelchair user. The system says, great, approved.
Or maybe it's for life safety or something.
Right. But if you select aesthetic preference, if you just want it, the system shifts gears. It effectively says, okay, you can have this, but you need to explicitly own the risk.
It makes the invisible cost visible.
Yes. It pops up and says, this choice will add $5,000 to the budget and delay the schedule by 4 weeks. Click here to accept.
That stops the unexamined decor from just eating the project alive.
Exactly. It forces a distinction between needs and wants. In the pre-clock era, those two things were completely mashed together. Here, they're treated differently.
I want to dig into the engine that makes this possible, because underneath this approved universe, there's some serious technical lifting happening. We have a file here called ruleengine-pseudocode.txt.
Always fun to read code on a podcast.
We won't read it line by line, but there's a concept here called the SAC score algorithm. Standards as code. How does the system decide what even gets into the approved universe?
It scores every potential product, but it's not scoring based on, reviews or how nice the photo is. It's scoring for reliability. And it starts with something called gate zero.
The hard stops.
These are binary, pass or fail, things like safety hazards, flammability ratings, or, and this is a big one, cannot be serviced in this region. If a chair is beautiful, but nobody in that city can repair it if it breaks, it fails gate zero. The score is 0. It's rejected instantly.
That is ruthless.
It has to be. You can't put a liability into a corporate office. But assuming it passes gate 0, the weighting of the score is fascinating. Operational reliability is weighted at 18 points. Compliance is 20 points.
And aesthetic range.
1 point.
1 point. That really tells you everything about the philosophy here, doesn't it?
It's a utility model. In a utility, beauty is meaningless if the service doesn't work. If the furniture doesn't show up or if it blocks a fire exit, nobody cares what color it is.
There was one other metric in that algorithm that I thought was brilliant, the confidence score.
Yes. This is how the system handles the unknown.
Because usually, if data's missing, we just guess, right?
In the old world, yes. You'd assume, it usually takes 6 weeks, but this algorithm penalizes ambiguity. If a manufacturer doesn't provide data, say, we don't know the lead time variance, the score takes a massive hit.
So silence is treated as risk.
Exactly. You cannot get certified status in the approved universe if your data is missing. It forces the entire supply chain to become transparent.
If you want to sell your products on the platform, you have to show your cards.
You got it.
Speaking of showing cards, let's talk about money and trust. because there is a section here on fiduciary AI that feels very different from how sales usually work.
This is a huge shift. The legacy industry operates on what the sources call implicit persuasion.
Which is a nice way of saying what exactly?
Well, think about how furniture is sold. Margins are often opaque. There are hidden rebates. A dealer might recommend a specific desk system, not because it's the best fit for your office, but because if they sell enough of them, they unlock a back-end volume bonus from the manufacturer.
And the client never knows.
The client has no idea. The sources emphasize that this isn't necessarily about evil people, it's a structural misalignment. The incentives are just murky.
So how does fiduciary AI fix a broken incentive structure?
It acts as a digital bodyguard. Its only job is to align strictly with the buyer's interest. It moves from a trust me model to a show me model.
Show me.
Every recommendation the AI makes must be accompanied by evidence. Here are the 3 alternates we considered. Here are the trade-offs in cost. Here are the trade-offs in lead time. And, this is the kicker, here is who benefits from this decision.
It tracks the benefit flow.
It tracks the money. If a choice disproportionately benefits a vendor without a clear functional benefit to the client, the AI flags it as bias.
That completely changes the conversation. It stops being about, do we like this sales rep? And starts being about, is this an efficient use of capital?
It treats the buyer like an adult. It says, here is the data, here are the consequences, you decide. It removes the manipulation from the middle.
I love that. Let's jump back to the design process for a second. We talked about the approved universe, but how do you actually lay out a floor plan with this thing?
Yeah.
There's a term in the notes I saw, vibe coding.
I know, it sounds like something a teenager would say on TikTok. Vibe coding my room.
But it's actually a serious technical concept here. What is vibe coding?
It's the interface for spatial intelligence. So the platform isn't just drawing lines on a screen like a CAD tool. It is reasoning about the space.
Okay.
It understands clearances. It understands adjacencies. It understands that a quiet zone cannot be right next to the coffee bar.
So is logic built in?
Deep logic. And vibe coding is the ability to take a natural language intent like, I want a quiet, focused neighborhood with a premium hospitality energy and compile that into an executable layout.
So I don't have to pick the chairs. I just have to describe the feeling.
You describe the outcome. The AI then translates premium hospitality energy into specific specs from the approved universe. It knows that means lounge seating, warmer lighting temperatures, certain acoustic partitions.
Because it's pulling from the approved universe.
The layout it generates is valid by default. It doesn't hallucinate a beautiful office that is illegal to build or impossible to afford. It generates a solution that fits the budget and the code requirements.
That is the guardrails concept we saw.
Right. It stops the designer from painting themselves into a corner. It handles the math so the designer can handle the empathy.
Okay, so we've designed it, we've vibe coded it, we've stayed in the approved universe, now we have to actually build the thing. The sources call this phase the messy middle.
And this is where most projects die a slow, painful death, the gap between spec and install.
And the solution here is multi-agent digital twins. Again, a mouthful of buzzwords. How is this different from just having a project schedule?
A schedule is static. A Gantt chart is a snapshot of what you hoped would happen when you made the file on Monday. By Tuesday, when a truck breaks down or a storm hits a shipping lane, that chart is a lie.
So what is a digital twin?
It's a continuous simulation. It's a living model of the project. And it uses these things called agents, autonomous software bots, to watch the project 24/7.
Give me an example of what an agent does.
Okay, take the logistics agent. Its job isn't just to track the truck. It watches site access. It knows, hey, the free elevator in this building is only available between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m.
And if the truck is scheduled for 2 p.m.?
The agent flags it weeks in advance. It says, this delivery will fail. It prevents the error before it happens.
My favorite one in the notes was the substitution agent.
That is the game changer. In the old world, if a fabric went out of stock, you wouldn't know until you tried to order it. Then panic ensues. The substitution agent is watching availability constantly.
So if the blue fabric runs out?
The agent immediately looks at the approved universe and says, the blue is gone. But here is the pre-approved gray alternate that fits the budget and the vibe. Shall we switch?
It's predictive.
It's entirely predictive. It's the difference between firefighting and fire prevention. The whole goal is variance reduction.
Right.
Reducing the gap between what you planned and what actually happened.
And in the current industry, that gap is huge.
It's massive. In
Yeah.
this new model, the goal is for that gap to be zero.
It feels like we are talking about a fundamental maturity shift for the whole industry.
We are. And the sources bring it back to that mechanical clock moment.
Let's close on that because I think it's the perfect summary.
Before the clock, time was local, fuzzy, and human dependent. The clock standardized the invisible. It made time machine readable. And that standardization is what allowed the Industrial Revolution. It allowed trains to run on time. It allowed global trade.
It created a grid that everyone could trust.
Exactly. This platform is attempting to be the clock for the furniture industry. It standardizes the invisible work of coordination. It takes the fuzzy, messy human interpretation out of the middle and replaces it with a reliable infrastructure.
So the value proposition changes completely. It's no longer about infinite choice.
No. The new unit of value is reliability, certainty.
I know this will happen when you say it will happen.
And if you are an enterprise buyer, if you are responsible for a $20 million headquarters project, that certainty is worth infinitely more than being able to choose from 10,000 shades of beige.
It really is a split in the road. You have the old world, infinite options, total chaos, high complexity tax, and the new world, governed choice, high reliability, zero tax.
And the provocative thought here is that the platform isn't just a vendor anymore. In this model, the platform becomes the reference system. It dictates reality. If it's not in the system, it effectively doesn't exist for the project.
It's a compelling vision.
Yeah.
And for everyone listening, I want you to think about your own industry. Where is the complexity tax hiding in your work?
It's definitely there somewhere.
Are you paying a premium for choices that don't actually improve your outcomes? Are you fighting with a pre-clock system of spreadsheets and emails?
And the real question is, are you ready to trade that illusion of infinite options for the reality of guaranteed results? Because that really is the trade.
That is the trade. And it's one worth thinking about the next time you're staring at a catalog of 1,000 things you don't need.
Thanks for diving in with us.
A pleasure as always.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.